stole his first term as president. These absolute liars who run around trying to act like they're the protectors of democracy completely ruined it, tried to undermine it at every turn and at the highest levels with lies, with out and out lies that were really serious, and changed foreign policy and changed the course of history in this country in Trump's presidency. And there must be accountability. There has to be actual criminal accountability for those who lied. And I can't wait to see this administration do it.
And that was the same attitude that Obama had towards Biden. Obama thought that Biden would eventually everything up. And that's eventually actually what happened. So, but also he didn't have much faith in Kamala Harris. Before she ascended to the top role, he was vetting people like Mark.
Hey folks, buckle up. Today we're diving into a fiery debate that's blowing up across the media. Two powerhouse voices, Megyn Kelly and Lindi Lee, are teaming up to pull back the curtain on Barack Obama, shattering the polished image we've been sold for years.
The elevation of Barack Obama was important to the left in this country. It was important to them. It was, you've made this point too, they were working something out of their own, about their own history, their own feelings, race, and so on. And factoring in, yes, point taken that Sheila is half Japanese too, but also half Dutch. So she looks white. So a white-ish ex-girlfriend fantasizing about having gay sex, that was not part of the program. That no one would have any interest in that. They only wanted to elevate the 2004 Democratic National Convention speaker. There is no red America. There is no blue America. There is only...
Obama's presidency has always been painted as a golden era of hope and change. But Kelly and Lee aren't buying the fairy tale, and they're ready to explain why.
Out of bounds. And how soon was it? After the election? Like
a week or two. When it wasn't at that point, I was just asking questions. Like, it wasn't even, I was like, what happened to the $2.5 billion we raised? Why did we spend it on Beyonce? Why did we spend 2.5? Why did we spend millions of dollars on Oprah? Like legitimate questions that needed to be answered. But the amount of hate I got for that was just overwhelming. And the final straw, the moment that I knew that I needed to leave was actually around Christmas Eve, when the chair of the party, he's the biggest clown that the Democratic Party has ever, like, honestly,
From policies that raised more questions than answers to billion-dollar book deals, these critics have a checklist of grievances that just might make you rethink Obama's legacy.
Or fuel on the fire that there's a potential, maybe a divorce or some sort of rockiness going on in the Obamas relationship. They both posted these mirrored, very choreographed Valentine's Day messages on X, but he was just seen at an LA, the basketball team. What's it called? I can't remember the name. The Clippers, thank you. Game without her. And the LA Clippers.
Together, they've created a brutal narrative showing that Obama's soaring rhetoric might just be hiding some harsh realities.
That intelligence community assessment of January 17 was set to downplay Russian interference in the 16 election. And then after a meeting with Obama and the top intelligence community officials, or at Obama's direction at least, the intelligence community did a complete 180 and played up.
Here's the twist. Kelly and Lee aren't on opposite political sides. They're practically harmonizing in a bipartisan takedown that's as surprising as it is revealing. So, what does that mean for Obama's legacy and for our future?
Hoping for.
I don't think Pelosi was hoping for anyone in particular, or not that I know of. I do know that Obama was carefully vetting Mark Kelly, the senator from Arizona. I know there were other names on his list. I'm not saying that Kamala Harris is necessarily at the top of the list, but he was definitely considering other candidates. I don't think she was ruled out. I just think that everyone is, a lot of people, the chieftains of the party, were hoping for a lightning round, a lightning primary. And President Biden essentially preempted that by issuing his endorsement 30 minutes.
Only one way to find out. And hey, if you enjoy these truth bombs, hit that subscribe button. It keeps us going and makes sure you never miss a deep dive like this.
People say it was Obama's third term. There's rumors of, And these are friends of mine that are moderate Democrats say that they thought it was Elizabeth Warren running it. They thought it was Bernie Sanders running it. But I think the general consensus, I think if you asked, the majority of the population, they think it was Obama's third term.
It was for sure Obama's third term. I don't think that's even a question. I don't think anyone, it definitely was. And that's why you saw Obama fighting for his
shortened. Megyn Kelly digs into Obama's policies with sharp detail, arguing that behind the soaring speeches, middle-class families were still left struggling. The hope and change promises often felt more like dreams on empty wallets.
And then it was Obama. He was elected when I was 17 years old, so I was fully indoctrinated. I went to Princeton. It's like a very, very liberal bastion. Being a conservative there was a blemish. You just couldn't. I can think of like 2 conservatives, 2 Republicans. It was just not a thing you could do. It was the age of Obama. People were enthralled by him. So it wasn't an option to be a Democrat. I actually didn't realize until recently that I could be a Republican. And let me remind you, I live in Philadelphia, where there's this 8-to-1 voter registration difference. It's not okay to be a Republican.
Instead of bridging divides, families were left chasing stability that never arrived, struggling with rising costs, broken promises, and no clear path forward.
Speaking of Barack Obama, he decided to drop a post on X today, and I thought, okay, maybe in the wake of the Pete Hegseth presser, he's going to say something like, no matter how you feel about the Iranian strike, hats off to our, boys in blue, our guys in the bombers. He went a different way. This is what it was.
Curious how you're thinking about this eulogy specifically in the moment and all the tensions that you just brought out.
I didn't even want to talk. I was so mad.
Shortened. Lindi Lee flips the focus to Obama's cultural impact, calling him more of a brand than a leader. Sure, he inspired millions, but too often, the performance overshadowed the progress.
Michelle's at this end of the table. Obama's all the way over here at this end, and brother Craig is between them like a mediator, like a marriage counselor.
So
if they're
true.
really still in love and together and not getting a divorce, why aren't they seated next to each other?
It's true. And why the instant affectation, oh, my man. And she doubles down in the following clip. It's just over the top.
Shortened. Together, Kelly and Lee argue Obama's presidency looked like a political show. Big speeches, powerful branding, but a gap between promises and delivery, especially in foreign policy.
Fighting for his fourth term. He's fighting for his own legacy. The relationship between Obama and Biden is most reminiscent of that between LBJ and JFK. JFK had little respect for Lyndon B. Johnson, but he picked him anyway because he wanted to win the South. He wanted to win Texas. But he had very little respect for LBJ's intellect. JFK was surrounded by his Harvard brain trust, and he had immense disdain for LBJ's Texas Hill Country vibe.
Shortened. They also spotlight the media's role, how Obama often escaped real scrutiny. From environmental reforms to post-presidency cash deals, Kelly and Lee say the hype outweighed the substance. Even his Netflix and book contracts raise the question, was it leadership or just the business of legacy?